Hello to everyone out there. This is my next video in chronicling my cancer treatment and progress and everything that's going on in my life right now. This video I've entitled, I Have Cancer, Now What? So first of all, I just want to say thank you to all my family and friends and acquaintances that I haven't talked to in years. There's been a serious outpouring of love and support that I did not expect. So thank you for the gifts, the flowers, the prayers, and the support. I especially want to thank the people who reached out to my children, my wife specifically. Those are the people that I really care about in this process, and I want to make sure that they're taken care of in that. I did get to break the news to my kids this evening with Jean and I. We sat down and were able to tell the kids that I have cancer. It was definitely an emotional event, but they took it really well. My daughter Mila, she's my oldest, she's 8 years old. She had a friend when we were in England who had leukemia when she was in elementary school there. So when I asked the kids, hey guys, do you know what cancer is? She said, yeah, Daddy, it's a disease where if you don't treat it, sometimes you can die. And so I kind of talked to her about that and said, yeah, Daddy has a type of cancer. It's a blood cancer. And we discussed it from there. My second oldest, Ainsley, she got a little bit emotional when she thought that I might be dying from this. And we talked about how we need to stay positive and we're going to be able to fight through this. And we shouldn't have any doubts that I'm going to make it through this no problem. And so by the end, it was definitely very, it was good. It was good for the family. As far as the update for me and my family specifically, some of you may know that I'm in the military and we're supposed to be moving, PCSing we call it in the military, to either Utah or Las Vegas here in the next 3 weeks. I sold my house. We're closing on May 15th. But luckily I was able to call the realtor yesterday and talked to her, and I told her my situation, and the buyer was willing to back out of the deal. Because of this whole process, my move with the military has been canceled, and luckily the buyer said, hey, as long as you compensate me for whatever money he invested as far as appraisal costs and all that, he's willing to back out of the deal. So I just want to say, we can have faith in humanity. I think it's awesome that guy was willing to do that for me. That was going to be a huge stressor for me. Had he not done that, I would have had to move my family during essentially a day or two after my first chemo treatment, which would have been painful, to say the least. As far as my career in flying and what's next for me, obviously I'm not going to be flying anytime soon. Flying a single engine fighter jet when you have cancer is probably not the safest thing, so I'm not allowed to fly right now. As far as the treatment, talking to the oncologist today, we're expecting it to last from anywhere from 4 months to 8 months, depending on how my body reacts, and that's with getting chemo every 2 weeks. After I'm done with those 4 to 8 months, the Air Force has a required waiting period of 6 months to a year, depending on the type of medicine that I need to take. And based on that, I will go to a medical review board, and they'll either approve me to continue to fly again, or I will be medically retired. So we'll take that as it is, and we'll take that one step at a time. But currently, my game plan is to try to stay as proficient as I can in the simulators and teaching academics where I can. As far as my current symptoms, what am I going through right now? I definitely have a lack of appetite starting to kick in. Acid reflux kind of kicked in. Apparently I have a family trait where we react not in a positive light to anesthesia. So after I got the lymph node removed, the next day I had hiccups for about 12 hours. It was super painful. And I called my grandfather when I was telling him what's going on, and he said, oh yeah, that happens to me all the time. The last time he had surgery, he had hiccups for like 3 days. So I felt, anyways, it's a terrible family trait, but that's something we're dealing with. Other things, night sweats still been standard, and then just kind of that pressure in the chest with whatever's going on with my heart right now. So how am I feeling personally? I'm motivated right now with all the outpour of love and my chance to connect with a bunch of old friends and stuff today. I'm motivated to fight this thing, and I'm excited to figure out what it is so we can get through this and we can have some positive videos here in the future. So as far as, I have cancer, now what? The tests that are going to be coming up. Tomorrow I have an echocardiogram on my heart. Probably not a standard test for people with lymphoma, but just because I have a bunch of fluid around my heart based on the CT scan, they're going to do that. Talking to the doc, sounds like they might have to stick a needle in my chest and suck the fluid out. It might require surgery or it might require nothing. So hopefully we get good news tomorrow with that. I'm also going to have to get a port catheter installed, so it's going to be a little thing I'll have in my chest here. So rather than them sticking the needle for chemotherapy every 2 weeks in my arms, and it kind of wears down on your veins and makes your veins really hard, they'll install this thing in my chest, and I'll have an entire video about that. to try to make the chemotherapy sessions a little bit more bearable with that. So that's going to be an entire surgery I'm going to have to get done in the next week or so. I'm also going to get a brain MRI. Again, probably not standard for lymphoma, but again, based on the fact that they saw a suspected cyst in my brain, I'm going to get an MRI done just to make sure nothing is weird with that. I'm also next week going to get a PET CT scan, which is where they're going to be able to stage the disease in my body. So I'll talk a lot about that, what staging means, and what we can expect with that when I have a video about my PET CT scan. But basically, I'm going to drink some radioactive sugar. It's going to react with my body, and they're going to give me an image of where this cancer is throughout my body. After that, I'm going to get a bone marrow biopsy, which I'm not looking forward to, where they stick a needle into your bone, suck out some bone marrow, and they test it to see if there's any lymphoma cells in that. Then after that, we take some chemotherapy classes, and then it's on to the chemotherapy sessions themselves with the occasional PET CT scan to see kind of how my body's reacting. So that's kind of the way forward. That's what I'm looking forward to. The next week or so, we'll get a final diagnosis. I'll get all these tests done, and I'll try to update you as we go along with all that. So please continue to reach out with any questions that you may have. Again, I appreciate the love and support that you've given me, and I'm more than willing to answer any questions that you may have. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.